Hey y'all. So last night I made the decision to come back and chisel this again after I got done dragging this terrace down. And so I have plowed this field twice in the opposite directions, and it's worked up pretty dang good. There's this upper corner up here is a little bit cloddy because there's some clay in this upper corner, but the rest of it is just worked pretty dang good. I mean, we can just about lay plastic like it is, but you can always do just a little bit better. So I'm fixing to spread 750 pounds to the acre of 8-16-24 tobacco fertilizer, and I always like to put a piece of cardboard or something. I got this fabric stuff from work that works really good because it's flexible. I always wrap the front of my spreader so that it doesn't cover the tractor up with fertilizer. Fertilizer will rust something into a pile in a skinny minute. But I'm gonna get this tobacco fertilizer spread. The reason I use tobacco fertilizer on pretty much everything is it's a much higher grade fertilizer than just regular say 1717. Tobacco fertilizer is a higher grade fertilizer, and it has more micronutrients in it, and it does not have the salts in it that regular fertilizer does. It's important for tobacco obviously because it's tobacco fertilizer, but it's important for strawberries as well, and it's good for your other vegetables, the micronutrients, but also the lack of salt, because with your average 10-20-20, we'll say, for putting out for growing field corn, you're going to put down 500 pounds to the acre ish. Well, for this crop of strawberries right here, based on my soil test, I'm putting 750 pounds to the acre. Sometimes we put 1,000 pounds to the acre. It just depends on what we're growing. So when you're applying that amount of fertilizer, you can get your salt built up in your soil pretty quickly. But also just that amount of fertilizer, even if it's got a minute amount of salt in it, salt makes you retain water, right? So you need more salt if you're pouring sweat. When you've got a lot of salt in your fertilizer, it makes the crop retain water. That's the reason they do not want that with tobacco, because tobacco has to be dried down. That's the reason they barn it. And the same with strawberries. If strawberries have excessive water retention, they rot faster. You do not want that. So anyway, tobacco fertilizer for your strawberries and your other vegetables. So I'm gonna get this fertilizer spread, and I'm gonna disc this down and get it where it's just worked down like flour. And we've got just a perfect amount of moisture in the soil right now, so I don't have to worry too much about it drying out. Sometimes when we just barely got a little bit of moisture in the soil, it's like a mad dash trying to get the plastic laid before the soil dries out, and because once the soil starts drying out, the beds start falling apart and you can't lay pretty beds, which we like to have really nice, tight, firm beds for our strawberries because it's such an expensive long-term crop. What I like to do with my fertilizer when I'm spreading fertilizer, I really don't like to spread fertilizer, but I have to because I can't afford to pay the truck fee for the chemical places to come and spread for me. They're really not interested in spreading 2 acres of fertilizer. But what I like to do, since I'm just using a broadcast spreader, is I'm going to go across this field and I'm going to spread back and forth this way, half the fertilizer, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to spread back and forth this way, the other half of it, so that I try to get it just as even as I possibly can. really enjoy working land, but man, this has been a lot of seek time, and I'm not even close to done. Well, close to done working, not close to done riding. Got all this to lay yet, but that right there is going to be awesome to bed up and lay plastic. These should be some of the prettiest beds I've ever laid. I was talking, I think it was yesterday, I was talking about residue, or in the last video I was talking about how residue is a problem. See how this all looks slick where it's been disc? One trick to disc in a field that you're going to lay plastic on is I disc it one direction and I go back and disc it the opposite direction, and that seems to really get it chopped up, cuts the clods. I mean, it really gets it worked up fine. There was some grass here. This is where our sweet corn patch was, and there was some grass growing at the end of that sweet corn. You see how this looks different than this? This is all these wads of residue and grass roots. You cannot pull a plastic mulch layer through this crap. It'll wad up. It'll wad up in the front, at least the rain flow. There may be one out there that works perfect with this, but our rain flow, you can't pull it through this. It will wad this stuff up in the throat of the bedder, and it will make a preacher cuss. So I got to get the guys over here. We had a strip of residue running up through the middle of the field that we came out this morning and spent 30 or 45 minutes getting all that mess out of the field, and it worked up just slick as a button. We missed a spot right here somehow, and I'm gonna get them to come out here after lunch and try to get the rest of this junk out, because that's gonna cause us problems. And like I said, you don't want to screw up your strawberries on the front end, something that's easily preventable. And if you've got big cavities in your beds, which is what that will cause, even a little bit of it, even if it's not wadding up and stopping the throat up on the layer, it's still going to cause cavities in the bed, and you don't have good capillary action. The water will not dissipate and spread throughout the bed like a sponge, like it's supposed to with drip irrigation, if you don't have a firm, tightly packed bed. If you just kind of got dirt in a pile, then water is not going to seep all the way and spread throughout the entire bed. That's important for watering and fertilizing our strawberries, but it's also critical for fumigating with this Vapam that we're going to use. We need to get the whole bed soaked. So I've got this field ready to lay plastic finally. See, it worked up pretty dang nice. Wish I had like a Danish Time field cultivator, 3-point hitch with a rolling basket on the back. If you got one of those that's really cheap, hit me up. I might be interested in purchasing that. But just working with what I got to work with, and I think it's gonna do really nice. Another little tip I'll give you is on my last pass of disking, I always disc one direction in 90 degrees, disc it like I said earlier. But when I don't really worry about the tracks at the ends of the field on my last pass, and then I'll go back and hit where I turned around at the ends of the field. But I always go back, like the plastic is going to run this way. So the last thing that I do is I take the disc and I run just as straight as I possibly can across the ends of the field. And I've got small discs on the outside on the back that don't dig too much of a trench, but it leaves just enough of a line, as you can see, that's where we're gonna start and stop the plastic. And that's just like a line in the soil that we can see. You can actually see the one on this side better, but we're gonna use that one. But that just gives you a start and stop point for your plastic mulch. And when you do that, not only does it look better, but it makes the ends of the field line up better, so it's easier to hook up your irrigation if it's fairly straight. But anyway, I think I'm going to put the plastic mulch laying on a different video, so hang with me, check back in. Hit if you're not subscribed, subscribe, hit that bell so you know when the next video comes out. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.